Meeting of the Siloam Springs Planning Commission to order. Roll call, please.
T. Williams.
Here.
McKinney. Here. Sally.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
K. Williams.
Here.
Bernard. Song.
Here.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Commissioners, you've all received the minutes of the March 12th, 2024 meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of March the 12th. Is there any corrections needed? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. First item on today's agenda is a significant development permit, SD 2402. Ms. Megan, it's your turn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Megan Thomas, Planner 1. This is a significant development request for property located at the 2900 block of Waukesha Road. The request is to construct a 42-space recreational vehicle park. And this is the site plan for the development. As you can see, the applicant is proposing a cul-de-sac development with a gravel drive and a small office building shown here to the east. This is that office building here. They're also providing a walking path along Waukesha Road as shown here. That's that gray path there. The walking path does meet city pedestrian requirements. It should be noted that the request is located within the Benton County territory. Therefore, the city review has been limited to the drainage manual, the master street plan, and construction requirements primarily tied to city utilities. The city does not have any land use control within our planning area boundaries. Therefore, the land use compatibility for this proposal will be reviewed as part of the Benton County Planning Board approval at the April 17th County Planning Board meeting. Should the County Planning Board impose any changes to the plans at that meeting as presented, conditions number 1 in your staff report will require that this proposal be remanded back to the Planning Commission for a re-review. And these are the elevations for the proposed office building, so just a standard commercial building. And this is the overall site plan for the development. So that little blue line that you can just barely see kind of running through over here, I just drew the red line next to it. That's a master street plan. So we have a street plan going through this property. According to the master street plan, the city administrator may make minor amendments and shift streets around should it be needed. So in this case, staff would find that it would be appropriate to shift the street to the south a little bit to allow for this development. With the master street plan, we do not have right-of-way here, so the city would be required to obtain that right-of-way. So it's thought to be that this line is kind of just an estimate of where the street will be. Staff has received 1 phone call of questioning nature on this request, and staff is recommending approval with 4 needed conditions as stated in your staff report, and staff is available for any questions that you guys may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to come and address this? If so, please come up, state your name and your address, please.
James Barnett, a bit more. I live very close to this and also own a piece of property very close to this. So I'm just really learning, and I'm representing a lot of neighbors and things that we've been trying to gain understanding. We've seen the signs go up, and so we're trying to understand. We're obviously for development, for Siloam Springs and those things happening, but to put 42 units on a 5-acre lot, not even 42 houses on the entire road going down, and it's going to be a very, very crowded situation. You may or may not know, but the area around that obviously is, sad to say, it's a very challenging area. The adjacent property to it has, the county sheriff is there once a week. It's constant activity there because again, the neighborhood there, to say this is going to help the neighborhood there, that's hard for me to understand. But, you know, there's been, one has burned down, I've been told it's a meth lab. And one of the trailers there's multiple trailers next door now, are RVs that are there, and it's just not a safe area. and a lot of challenges there. So we're very concerned about that. There's a $500,000 house across the street. This will not, and on your statements here where it says, let me find the right places there, where it says, there's no evidence the proposed development will cause a consistent disturbance to the peace and enjoyment of the neighboring properties. I would disagree with that statement. I think it will cause a lot of traffic, number one, but a lot of people, if they were putting 10 units in, that'd be a different story, because there'd be a little room, but there is no room. I mean, these things are, 20 feet apart? It's very, very tight. And most of these today are not being used for recreational purposes. There becomes people's place of living, and so that's something we're concerned about. And because normally that's what happens, and there's a number of these around. You can go, you've probably seen them out around, and so there's some nicer ones, and there's some that aren't so nice. And so we're just concerned that the staff finds no evidence that the property values will be damaged in the neighborhood. We disagree with that. I think it will damage the neighborhood's value, continue to do that. And I can go on other things that are stated. It won't cause any substantial burden to the present uses of the area around it. I think it will cause additional burden. So we're concerned about it. I'm here to learn and understand and know that the city has 1 mile rule, and know that the city can affect if they can hook up to the sewer and the water, electric and those pieces. And so as a representing a number of neighbors there, we're just concerned about what this will do to the neighborhood, to the values. And I also think about the next 10 years in Siloam Springs as we annex additional land in and we look for opportunities. Is this what we want in the city? Is this what we want as part of our city, that close in that 1 mile zone as we continue to think about the future? So anyway, those are some of my thoughts, and thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Mr. Barnett. Is there anyone else that would like, please state your name and your address, and please try not to duplicate anything that Mr. Barnett.
My name's Charles Smythe, 2650 South Lincoln, and I own the property that 2671 South Lincoln, which butts up against it. And I just had a few questions. I was just wondering, is it going to be like an RV park where people come in and just camp and spend the night, or is it be like the one that out here by the drive-in up 3 Mile Lane where people live there all year round? Just a permanent address?
The development is for an RV park, not a permanent.
It's just going to be people pulling in and spending a couple nights and going on?
Right.
And then is it going to have a privacy fence around it?
I can't answer that right now.
Like my land butts up right against it, and my daughter's thinking about building a house back pretty close to that, and just wonder if there's going to be a privacy fence around it.
Okay, we'll have to answer that as we get in here. I don't know if the developers here or representative is here, but
Yes,
Megan,
I'm here.
all right, can you address that right fast?
Yeah, sure can. Do I need
Please
to
state your name and
Yes, Frank Russell Taylor, and I'm the owner of the property here. We, right now, are planning to leave a tree buffer along the edge of the property there. That is our overall plan. And we are going to do, so to make sure, just to give everyone ease of the tenants that we would have there, it would be a vetting process. So we would have a monthly, weekly, and nightly RV park is what this is, just
Okay.
like a lot of the different ones around. So those are the two things. And for anyone staying longer than a week, there is a vetting process, background check, and all that done on them. So, and it's right there close to the Simmons Hatchery. The house that he's referring to across the street is several hundred yards away, and it also is vacant and has never been lived in. So I know that as far as anything right directly adjacent to us, there is not any impact to residents.
and give other people the opportunity. Is there anyone else that would like to address this development? Please state your name and address.
Jim McDonald at 3001 Waukesha Road. I live right across the street from where they're going to put this. I have the same concerns as this gentleman. Right now, there's been a couple of RVs out there that Supposedly, the guy was just brought in to clean the property up. This is next door to them, not on their property. And that's where the concerns come with, I haven't had any trouble with the people, so I'm not here saying we got bad people out there. I don't know them, but I've been there a couple of years, and they haven't caused me any issues anyway. However, bringing an RV park in, that's gonna be residents there, it leads to potential trouble whenever the people are coming in there to live there. If they're coming in as as a recreational, to come in for even a month, that's not a big deal. And I'm just like him, I want to see Siloam Springs grow and go. So I just see this as a potential problem if they're allowed to stay there monthly, year in and year out. So, thanks.
Okay, again, is there anyone else that would like to address this development permit? Okay, seeing no one else, and normally by rules, and Chris, I apologize, I know we're supposed to limit up to 3 minutes, but I feel this was a important enough issue for the public to allow them to, let's get everything out.
You are the boss.
Okay, commissioners, you've heard comments of the public. It is your turn to talk now.
I have a question for either Megan or Chris. So our role as a planning commission is different when we are looking at properties inside the city versus properties outside of the city that are still within a certain distance from the city. Could you speak to that a little bit, just so that we're clear on that and maybe help them understand what our role is?
That is correct. The role of the city in this consideration falls to some very light development considerations, which primarily ties to our utilities and some of the land split considerations. For example, we need to verify, for example, that easements are dedicated, that our master street plan and drainage criteria manual is followed. The land use consideration is the responsibility of the county entity. So anything relative to land use is not within the purview of this commission. That would be the zoning. Typical zoning considerations that you would hear first, and then it would come back with this type of a permit. What you're being asked to do in this case is look at a site development permit. And in this case, the question at hand is, does this meet the site development standards that are defined in our code, yes or no? And I believe that in the opinion of staff, it does meet those requirements. I do understand that there are quite a bit of issues in this area, and I do understand and have heard a lot of the feedback from the public, but that is, the land use related issues are not what's on the table here tonight. What's on the table here tonight is, does it or does this not meet our standards that we as a city can apply to this location? And in the opinion of the staff which reviewed this project, yes, it does meet those standards. It'll be up to the commission whether or not they vote to agree with staff's recommendation.
And just to add to that, the county planning review, like I stated, is April 17th. So anyone with questions or concerns on land use related items for this project, April 17th, Benton County Planning Board meeting is where you would take those concerns and speak to that.
How about utilities, City of Siloam? Does this group have anything to say on the water use in the city, in the sewer use?
Please, excuse me, for the record, sir, could you come up and once again, where we can get it on the record, your question?
Sure, J.W. James Barnett again. Does the city or the planning and zoning have to approve the use of the water in the sewer?
Becca, did you want to answer that?
Yeah, so that's tied to our utility service agreement. When a property is located in the county area and they would like to receive water, sewer, electric, any kind of utility from the city, they have to sign a utility service agreement. With that agreement, we can enforce certain standards. for our C2 zoning, but it's very minimal to what we can enforce actually with that utility service agreement. And so based on the plan that we have received, they have met the minimum requirements to receive water and sewer services based on our utility service agreement policy.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify on that, we are limited to, for those requirements with those utilities, we are limited by federal case law to ensure that the requirements that we impose are related to those utilities whenever we connect those to those. It has to have a reasonable connection to that utility, for example, the easements associated with those and those type of connections.
One more question. How does the 1 mile, what is the 1 mile rule? How does that work?
So, Mr. Chair, the 1 mile rule is a discussion that is relative to state statute 14-56-413. It is referred to as a territorial jurisdictional boundary. Within the territorial jurisdictional boundary for a city that's over the population of 8,000, the size of that boundary can increase based off of your population. We fall into the 1 mile boundary because we're over a population of 8,000. We don't fall into the greater population for the next size. We can impose certain development standards. The city's planning commission can have those development standards. For example, our drainage criteria manual was enforced at this location. Different standards can be enforced. For example, the master street plan was approved by the planning commission and by the board of directors. We can take those into consideration at this location.
Okay. Sir, I'm sorry we're into the commissioner's
Okay,
side of things right now.
I still gotta make this comment. There's no water there now, and they're gonna have to get it there, so that's gonna disturb a lot of people.
Anyone else from the commission, any other commissioners got any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman. Megan, not that I know Kevin isn't here, and it's not that I don't trust the city engineer's decision-making and stuff, but I know we've looked at a lot of properties and a lot of developments, and drainage is always a concern. And right now, we don't see the drainage on this plan. We see that there has to be something that the city engineer approves, including a detention pond and including the drainage plan. But it seems like this is putting the cart before the horse and bringing it to us not to see that.
And I haven't, Mr. Chair, I haven't done a thorough review of this. I believe the engineer is present. I haven't done a thorough review of this, but I believe that there appears to be channelized detention on the plat just by looking at it. I didn't know if the engineer.
And I wasn't
is
sure if that
present.
was the final, because it does say improvements, including a detention pond, as one of the conditions.
Mr. Holmeyer, can you shed some light on this?
I'll do my best. Ron Holmeyer, excuse me, Civil Engineering. I believe the city engineer's been out for a few days, and so the plan you see has the proposed detention basin, the outlet structure, drainage report's all been submitted. I'm not gonna throw any stones, but I know that I've completed my part of it in the time frame that's required. So, just like you, I'm looking at the staff report and wondering why it hasn't been updated, but I know that I've done my part. The detention's there, the pre and post-development flows are the same, or the post-development is equal to or less than pre-development flow, peak flow rates in all instances that's required, so.
Okay, I understand.
I mean, the full set of plans includes all the drainage design. You're just looking at the site plan,
Right.
okay?
Thanks, sir.
Any other concerns from the commissioners on this item?
I think I have a lot of the same concerns that have been addressed here. It appears that our ability to address those concerns is fairly limited at this time in terms of our scope. So I would encourage all of those that have spoken out tonight to attend the Benton County Planning meeting on the 17th to be heard at that time as well. You heard it. 6 PM.
Because we can only approve what is city connections here, we are, no matter how we may feel about this, we have to abide by our rules that we're put up to. So if there are no other comments on significant development permit 24-02, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the significant development permit SD 24-02.
I have a motion to approve SD 2402, and Commissioner Song, I'm assuming that is with stated conditions.
Thank you so much, with stated conditions.
Okay, I have a motion to approve SD 2402 with the 4 stated recommendations by city staff. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve SD 2402 with the 4 recommended conditions. Roll call, please.
McKinney,
Yes.
Sally,
I want to say something before I vote. You know, like they said, we're limited on the criteria that we can base our decisions on for this. I think the county is able to use a wider on what they base their decision on because it's in their area. But based on what I see with the stated conditions, yes.
Smith,
Because of what we have here, I have to attend the Benton County meeting on, as a stated date, so yes.
Kay Williams,
Yes.
and Song.
I'm repeating what has been said for the land usage because we can't really see that. So
T. Williams,
No.
The motion to approve SD 2402, it is approved. It will go to the board May the 7th unless it comes back from Benton County. Next item on our agenda is SD 24-03. Ms. Megan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Megan Thomas, Planner 1 again. This is a significant development request for property located at 3948 Highway 412 East. The request is to construct a 7,000 square foot commercial retail store for O'Reilly Auto Parts. This will be their second location in the city of Siloam Springs. This is the site plan for the proposed commercial retail store. As you can see, they're proposing access on Highway 412 with the drive shown here to the north. Additionally, they're also proposing to construct a sidewalk along Highway 412 there, and they are providing sufficient parking for the development with parking shown here to the north of the structure and to the west of the structure. So both of those are the proposed parking areas. It should be noted that this is a smaller portion of a larger lot, so they will be required to split this property prior to certificate of occupancy. That's one of the conditions of approval in your staff report. These are the proposed elevations. I'm sure this looks very familiar to y'all. And this is the overall site view of the property. So again, this is that much larger property I was talking about, and the red square is indicating the area for this development. They will have to split that off through a lot split proposal, and they will have to file that plat prior to certificate of occupancy issuance. So with that said, staff has not received any phone calls or correspondence on this request, and staff is recommending approval with 3 conditions as shown in your staff report. And staff is available for any questions that you guys may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Is there anyone from the audience who would like to address this development permit? Seeing no one from the audience, commissioners?
You did clarify, didn't you, this is a second location, not a replacement location?
Yes, that's correct.
Any other comments or questions about SD 2403?
Mr. Chairman, this is just a comment. Megan or Chris, with the parking lot the way it is that section of the parking lot to the east actually built that way so it can carry on into another business east of that?
Yes, so that's to maintain access to that larger portion of the lot that they're gonna have to split off. So I'll go back to that screen so you guys can take a look at that. So that's so that they have access there from that development and they don't have a lot of drives just coming out on Highway 412.
Megan, will there be any improvement from the area that's in red over to that second driveway that's on that property? Or will that be left undeveloped?
I think are you referring to the sidewalk?
Yes.
I think the sidewalk is only along the frontage of the lot that they're going to be creating, since that'll be its own lot. So I'll go back to that plan. If you see, the sidewalk doesn't continue off-site here, it's just strictly in front of the lot that we're talking about.
In front of the lot that there's. Do you have any other concerns, commissioners? Okay, with no other concerns, I'll entertain a motion for SD 24-03.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve SD 24-03 significant development permit with conditions as listed.
Ms. Megan?
I misspoke, and I just want to correct myself before y'all vote on this.
Okay.
I'm realizing now that I'm looking at it a little closer, that's actually a dumpster that you're referring to. It's not an access to that. So,
The dumpster's at the bottom.
He's asking about
Yes.
the east, next to where it says north arrow.
yeah, but you were talking about the access back here, right, previously?
No.
Over by the north arrow.
The east. Where it says north.
It looks like a stub out in the parking lot.
Oh, right here?
A little further
What are
from
you
that.
referring to?
Between the parking spaces,
Mm-hmm.
and that's basically rectangle that sticks out.
This.
Yes.
It's a good question. I would think that's for future access. Sorry, I can't really speak to that, actually.
Oh, are we to assume that's for future access to another development? Excuse me, sir, are you the,
Yes, I'm the civil engineer.
okay.
At one point,
Please state your name
Kip Williams with OWN Incorporated.
and address.
We're based out of Rogers. I'm the civil engineer with the
And
developer.
I understand, but for the record, we require,
Oh, my residential address?
no, your business. All right, out of Rogers.
5311 West Village Parkway, Rogers, Arkansas.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. At one point, it was a shared access, and we extended it to the drive across the neighboring property, but the neighboring property didn't want to do that for development purposes. They wanted the future development to dictate their own drive and their access. So there was at one point shared access across, developing out the driveway, but due to separation and then them not owning that lot, it was limited to just within our lot. But it is stubbed out. If they were to reach out, shared access, O'Reilly Auto Parts always wants shared access. So if they were to reach out and request that, if they wanted to, O'Reilly would definitely, typically grants those. So that's just for future calls.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just hoping we're doing more of that as the city and development so that there's fewer trips out on 412 back
Yeah.
in.
Absolutely. Yeah, they always support it because that also means more access for customers. It's beneficial to the city and O'Reilly's, so they're in favor of that typically. So,
Great, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, we have got a motion and a second, I believe. No.
Second.
Now we've got a second. Okay, we can continue on now with the roll call.
Sally,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
K. Williams,
Yes.
Song,
Yes.
T. Williams,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Motion is approved. This will go to the Board of Directors on May the 7th. Next item on our agenda is rezoning development permit RZ 24-02.
Megan Thomas, Planner One. This is a rezoning request for property located at the 3500 block of East Kenwood Street. The applicant is requesting to rezone 10.61 acres from A1 agriculture to PD planned development to allow for a future townhome development. This is the concept plan for the proposed planned development. Again, the applicant is proposing townhome units with single-car garages and ground-level entry. Additionally, the development would include an extension of Timothy Street to the east over here, as you can see, that's going down here to allow access to that planned development. The concept plan also shows walking paths and some green areas to make it for a more walkable community here. The plan is only conceptual, so the final layout of this development will be reviewed as part of a significant development request, so things could possibly change on this plan from what you're seeing now. This is strictly conceptual. In addition to the significant development request, the applicant will also be required to subdivide this area from the main parcel as it's its own development area. And this is the proposed development standards for the planned development. Generally speaking, the applicant is staying in line with the current code standards for PD zone, as indicated in your staff report. The only variation from those standards is the minimum residential lot size. They've increased that by 50 square feet, so it's originally 2,700 for multifamily, but now they've increased that to 2,750 for this development. And on the right of the screen, you can kind of see what these townhomes will look like. This is just a general idea of what they're proposing. And then this is the future land use map for the property. So the future land use calls for neighborhoods 2, which finds that townhomes are considered very appropriate. So this planned development is consistent with the future land use designation for the property. And this is the overall site view. Again, this will have to be split off in the future through a plat. And with that, staff has not received any calls or correspondence on this request, and staff is recommending approval with no needed conditions. And staff is available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Megan. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to address this development or this rezoning development permit?
Yes, Ron Holmeyer, civil engineer, civil engineering, 701 South Mount Olive. I think she's hit on all the key points. I just wanted to let you know I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Is there anyone in the audience? Seeing none, commissioners, do you have questions or concerns about this rezoning development permit?
I'm just confirming, Timothy Street will be extended. Is that what you said, Megan?
Yes, that's correct. It will be part of the significant development and plat work for the project, but that is the intent, that they will extend Timothy Street for this development to have access.
And will that connect to Kenwood in the future?
I think it went all the way down on that concept plan.
It actually connects to the neighborhood next to it.
There's our-
It used to.
I know, I haven't looked at it since.
Ron Holmeyer, civil engineering. Timothy Street was originally proposed to go straight down and connect to Kenwood. Staff felt like that was going to be too many connections on Kenwood Street within a short distance, so they asked us to curve that and tie into the future arterial Simon Sager. So that's why you see a curve there, but no continuation of it, because this is separate from the other. The other's just standard zoning, and this is the PD, so it needed the concept plan, the other does not.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
so is the shape of that because of the future Simon Sager? Not that I mind the shape. When you said that, I
guess I should have just stayed up here.
sorry.
No, you're fine. There is a power transmission line overhead, like SWEPCO or AEP or whoever, that comes down diagonals right along. The power lines are basically, the poles are basically where that line is shown. But the master street plan does also show Simon Sager coming down and more or less moving over the same amount as the power line does.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, any other questions, commissioners? Concerns? Seeing none or hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to. Have a motion to approve RZ 2402. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve RZ 2402. Roll call, please.
Kay Williams,
Yes.
Song,
Yes.
T. Williams,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
and Smith.
Yes. Motion is approved. This will go to the Board of Directors on May the 7th, 2024. Next item on the agenda is rezoning development permit RZ 24-03. Megan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Megan Thomas, Planner 1 again. This is another rezoning request for property located at the 3500 block of East Kenwood Street. The applicant is requesting to rezone 14.89 acres from A1 agriculture to R2 residential medium. And this is the future land use map for the property. Again, it's calling for neighborhoods 2, which finds that single-family residential is appropriate for that designation. And this is the site view of this property for the R2 development. So I labeled that PD that you just heard over there to the east. And now we have the R2 that you're hearing now. So again, they will have to subdivide the 2 lots and split them from the parent tracts. Staff has not received any calls or correspondence on this request, and staff is recommending approval with no needed conditions. Staff is available for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to address this development?
Same as last time, Ron Holmeyer, Civil Engineering, 701 South Mount Olive. Just here to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Ron. Anyone else? Seeing none, commissioners, it is your turn.
Mr. Chairman, Kay Ron. Where does Timothy now curve in? Megan, can you put up the, I guess, the site plan where Simon Sager shows? On this one, Timothy goes straight through.
Is that what you wrote?
Other way. No, like way in the other change.
This one?
One more.
Have what he's looking for in your presentation.
We've gone through them all.
I have it here, is the only reason.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, the one with the big,
That's been removed.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
That's what that X means.
Yes, Chris.
The R2 zone is a straight rezone. I believe the Planning Commission's packet may show a copy of the preliminary plat. It's not appropriate to show a preliminary plat outline with, when considering a straight rezone, because it's, a straight rezone is an R2, to an R2 can change before it goes to a preliminary plat approval process, whereas the PD cannot, it doesn't change as much because it's part of the approval. So it was removed from the presentation tonight. It may have made it to your packet. That may be what you're talking about.
We're just here for the zoning.
For
zoning change.
the R2, it would be a straight rezone, and it would be followed by our preliminary plat at a later date. That's correct.
Okay. We're here for a zoning change, so. Any other concerns from commissioners? Well, with all of that comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move approval, RZ 24-03.
Okay, we have a motion to approve rezoning development permit RZ 24-03. Do I have a second?
second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Song,
Yes.
T. Williams,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Kay Williams.
Yes.
Motion is approved, and it does go to the Board of Directors on May the 7th, 2024. Next item on the agenda is easement acceptance. Megan, your turn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So tonight we have 809 East University. You're just accepting the easements. This plat has been approved, so let me know if you have any questions.
Hey, this, all we're doing is accepting this, motion to accept, unless you've got some questions on this easement. Okay, I'll entertain that motion to accept the easements as presented that have been approved by staff.
So moved.
Have a motion to accept. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call.
T. Williams,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
K. Williams,
Yes.
Song.
Yes.
Those easement assessments have been approved. Next item on our agenda is the board and staff approved permits. You all have copies of it in your packet. Are there any questions concerning the staff approved permits, projects? Okay, I hear none on the staff, our board approved projects. We have an announcement.
Yep, just a little announcement. So Thursday, April 11th, from 4:30 to 7:30 here in the chamber, the council chambers that we have here, we will be having our town hall meeting to discuss annexation. That's going to be part of the annexation election. So we'll have some boards posted. We will have our department heads available, electric, community development, police, fire, all those department heads will be here to answer any questions you have on annexation. We also will have comment cards, and staff will be here to assist y'all. So please come out, and that's all I have.
That time, once again, was 4:30 to,
4:30 to 7:30 on Thursday, April 11th.
thank you. If there's no more business to come before this planning commission, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
This planning commission is adjourned.